nuo daktaro Darren Coleman, Wavelength Marketing įkūrėjo. Pranešimo pavadinimas Competing Through the Brand Experiences – 3 Steps for Success During Times of COVID-19. Paplokime mūsų pirmajam užsienio pranešėjui.
So, Labadiana, Kaunas 20, I'm delighted to be here to share some thoughts on how you can compete through brand experiences. So I'm going to provide 3 steps for success during COVID-19 through brand experiences. So my name is Darren Coleman. I run a branding agency. We're based in the UK and we work with clients across Europe, the Middle East and Southeast Asia. We specialize in helping brands grow and retain relevance through brand experiences. And I'm delighted to say that I've recently been appointed as the Honorary Counsel for Lithuania in my hometown of Birmingham. So, the types of organisations that we work with across Europe, the Middle East and Southeast Asia, and you'll see a couple in there from Lithuania as well, but all of these organisations are interested in our ability to help them grow and retain relevance through brand experiences. And I'm very happy to say that I've been involved with Lithuania from about 2014, and this image here of the 2 groups that were on the first brand lab that we ran for Enterprise Lithuania brings back a lot of memories. But the reason I'm saying that we've worked with Lithuanian companies for some time, because I want you to appreciate that we understand the context and the challenges that Lithuanian companies face. So what do I want to achieve in today's talk? There's 2 simple, clear objectives. I firstly want to share a 3-step brand experience building tool that will help you navigate the challenges COVID-19 presents. This is a practical management tool that we use extensively with our clients and have used it particularly since COVID-19 started to bite hard. Secondly, I want to help you build efficient brand experiences in the context of COVID-19. And based on our experience of dealing with clients around the globe, there are 3 areas that we're seeing as being priorities. These are focusing on emotion, bringing your values to life, and really thinking about the role that employee behaviour plays when it comes to building brand experiences. So let's look at that in a bit more detail. So COVID-19, the context that we're operating within today. So really the world has been turned upside down. If I was to have sat here last year and said to you, we're going to face a global pandemic to the extent that we are, you would have thought I was bananas. But we are where we are. And this is creating all sorts of challenges for brands, particularly when it comes to brand trust. And this data point here from Elderman shows the extent to which COVID-19 could have implications for long-term growth. So we can see globally how well brands respond to the crisis will have a huge impact on the extent to which customers will buy that brand in the future. So working within the context of COVID-19 isn't a short-term fix. Yeah, there are short, medium, and long-term strategic implications for the advice that I'm going to try and give you today. So in terms of efficient brand experiences and your COVID-19 recovery, to structure the approach today, I want to share a practical management tool. This is the Brand Experience Blueprint. It's based on my book that I published a couple of years ago, but it's a practical tool that we share and use extensively with clients around the world to help them drive growth through brand experiences, but also to retain relevance. And the way in which we advise clients to build brand experiences is by following a simple 3-step process. So in summary, you need to firstly think about what we call the brand experience environment. This is the context that your brand experiences are built and delivered within. So for example, considering your stakeholders, fine-tuning your perspective, thinking about the delivery of brand experiences and adopting a data-driven approach. So once you've thought about the environment, then you need to consider what we call brand experience enablers. These are core, intangible brand assets that are the cornerstones of brand growth and brand relevance. So brand values, brand essence, brand personality, brand positioning, and brand promise. And the key point here is that you need to articulate your brand experience essentials in the context of the brand experience environment to ensure they're relevant. So for example, you need to consider how well your values resonate with your stakeholders. Are they data-driven, for example? Similarly, your essence, does it resonate with stakeholders? And does it connect emotionally? So the point is, you articulate and develop your brand experience essentials in the context of the brand experience environment. And this is how you go about building a relevant brand. But then you need to bring that brand to life. And we do that through three core terms in the enablers. This is design, behavior, and communications. So design relates to multisensory design, taste, touch, sound, and scent, and using service design tools as well. Behavior primarily relates to your employee behavior, and then communications is how you get your brand out into the marketplace. But the point is that you define and develop your brand essentials in the context of the environment, and then you bring them to life through design, communications, and behavior. So this is the structured approach that we adopt to helping clients drive growth and retain relevance through brand experiences. And this is how we're helping clients navigate the turbulent times that COVID-19 is bringing. So let me talk you through some worked examples of how you can use this practical management tool yourself. So step one is the brand experience environment. So the environment comprises of 4 elements. So for example, considering your stakeholders, you profile them, understand the jobs they want to get done. Think about how you can engage with them and manage their expectations. Fine-tuning your perspective is about behaving with transparency, adopting a holistic mindset so you're thinking strategically, focusing on value, not price, etc. Understanding the mechanics of delivery is thinking about the role of emotion, co-creation, and omni-channel experiences. Whilst adopting a data-driven approach entails using robust insights and also measuring holistically. In other words, obtaining employee, brand, and financial metrics. And I want to show you how that's played out with a client in Lithuania. So I've been familiar with DecoFlux since 2014, and I'm glad to say that we've stayed in touch and worked more closely with DecoFlux in recent years. And when we ran a workshop for the team in Vilnius last year, one area that we focused on was the emotion that they wanted their customers to feel when they engage with the DecoFlux brand. And the team came up with a really fantastic emotion that they want their stakeholders to feel. They want their stakeholders to feel cherished. They should feel important and cared for. And this mood board generates that emotion. So this emotion has become particularly important during the turbulent times that COVID-19 has presented. So how did that play out in terms of the brand experience blueprint? So this was about building efficient brand experiences. And yes, there was an element of profiling, understanding customers in China, South Korea, across Europe, but also robust insights and engagement. But the core factor was understanding emotion and how the brand could connect at an emotional level to be relevant to the target customers and other stakeholders within the supply chain. Based on my experience of dealing with companies, not just in Lithuania, but globally, but it is a particularly acute problem in countries like Lithuania, is that brands tend to compete on product features and functional features. And this is a limiting factor. And emotion is key, and emotion is where brands operate. And emotion is important because emotions make memories stick. And that means your brand will become more salient. In other words, your brand will come to mind when customers make decisions. And here's the neuroscience behind why emotions make memories stick.
Cognitive neuroscientists have studied why this is the case. When looking at the brain, researchers found that the amygdala, a part of the brain that is important for processing emotion, encourages other parts of the brain to store memories. More specifically, it kicks into gear the hippocampus, which is mostly important when you are first making memories, and the prefrontal cortex, which is important for working memory and decision-making. That's how emotions make your memory more likely to stick.
So there you go. There's the neuroscience behind why emotions make memories stick. So I challenge you to ask yourself a question. How do I want my target customers, stakeholders to feel about my brand? This is how you can go about building efficient brand experiences at this time. The next point that I want to focus on is brand experience essentials. So these are core intangible assets that are the cornerstones of brand relevance and brand-driven growth. And you need to have these in place before you can even think about building experiences. And the key point is the essentials need to be defined and developed in the context of the brand experience environment so that your brand is relevant. So this is an example of how Vans, the skate and surf brand, came up with a proposition for Vans Foot the Bill. And this was a very efficient use of their brand values during COVID-19. And what they did is they offered their customizable platform to 80 organizations and allowed them to design 500 custom products. And then the proceeds from those 500 custom products went to that company. And this is how they did it.
I want to nominate Witt's Carlsbad Pipelines for my shop of choice in the Vans Foot the Bill program.
I'm so excited to nominate Hometown Barbecue,
Daydream Surf Shop,
Limited to One Record Store,
King's Ride Shop,
Eli's Mile High Club,
Storm Surf Shop,
Long Beach Skate,
Sunrise Surf Shop,
Deucin, Bill Curtis from Gone Boarding.
I'm choosing the Wheel Mill Skate Park,
Island View Hawaii. They're going to be doing a custom pair of Vans shoes. All net proceeds will go to helping that business.
Eastern Border was the shop that brought everybody together.
I just love the company. They're women-owned.
It's a small business selling rare, independent music.
They've always supported young up-and-coming surfers and skaters.
Help clean up the reefs, clean up the beaches.
They do so much for the community.
Without people like them, surfers wouldn't have access to the things that bring them so much joy.
It's really nice right now to be able to support them.
Go to vans.com/footthebill.
Design a shoe, get a shoe.
You can buy their shoes that they created and help support them.
Now let's go sell some shoes.
So you can see how Vans leverage their values here.
I want to nominate.
So when we look at Vans values, they're determined, connected, inclusive, expressive, and fun. These are fantastic brand values. But of particular interest is the connected. So we build lasting, meaningful relationships with consumers, customers, partners, and family. So what they did is they used their values as a platform to connect with a variety of stakeholders. And you can see here, they connected with the stakeholders, they profiled them, they engaged with them, but they also accepted a loss of control through co-creating the experience. So they reached out to their community, they engaged the community, and then they co-created the experience. And this was a really cost-effective and efficient way of creating a brand experience that was absolutely on brand for their values. Really clever stuff. So what I would do is encourage you to think about this question. How can I bring my brand values to life in ways that help and support my target customers or other key stakeholders? What we're seeing around the globe is the brands that are winning are going back to basics. They're thinking about their values and how their values can connect with their target customers and other stakeholders. And I'd encourage you to do the same. So the final step is thinking about brand experience enablers. So these are 3 tools that you can use to bring your brand to life: multisensory design, your employee behavior, and communications. And this is an example of how not to go about doing it. So Chipolte, earlier in the year, had a Chipotle Together Hangouts on Zoom. In theory, this was a great idea because they brought their community together for virtual hangouts where people who enjoyed Chipotle could connect. So it helped people satisfy that core human need for belonging. And that tied in theoretically with the positioning of the brand. So a lot of the positioning of the Chipotle brand is about being real ingredients, real food, being real to your people, your employees, treating our people right. So in theory, it sounds great. It's really wholesome. It's really authentic. It's the real deal. And at times like this, during COVID-19, people just want to connect with something real and secure. And that's what they were doing in theory. But in practice, they weren't treating their employees fairly. They weren't getting fair sick pay. They had to come in when they were sick. And this created all sorts of problems. And this is particularly important for a services brand like Chipotle, because the brand, the core of the brand, is about the people that deliver the experience. And this caused all sorts of problems because they weren't practicing what they preached. So how did this play out in terms of efficient brand experiences? Well, in theory, they wanted to bring their positioning to life, but actually through the behavior of their staff, they really had difficulties here with transparency. Yes, they profiled their customers. Yes, they were thinking about getting a job done, enabling people to connect and satisfy that core human need for belonging and to engage with their community around the brand through online Zoom sessions. But they fell short because they didn't treat their people with decency and respect, and the secret got out. So with this now, you have to be very careful that you don't take the moral high ground and not follow through, because transparency is a double-edged sword. It can show vulnerabilities, and that's endearing for the target customers, but if it shows that you're not practicing what you preach, you'll have problems. So I would encourage you to try and answer this third question. How can I engage my employees with my brand to deliver great experiences to my customers and other stakeholders? So I set myself 3 objectives. I wanted to share a 3-step brand experience tool that will help you navigate the challenges COVID-19 presents. Well, that's the brand experience blueprint. Think about the environment, enablers, and the essentials, and think about how they enable you to build relevant brand experiences. But it's not possible to do everything. So in order to build efficient brand experiences in the context of COVID-19, I'd encourage you to get back to basics in terms of human nature and think about 3 core components of how you go about competing through brand experiences. Think about how you connect emotionally with your customers and stakeholders. Think about your values and how relevant they are to your customers and stakeholders. And then think about how your employees can connect with your brand and the role they play in bringing your brand to life. Based on our experience over the last 9 months, these are the 3 ingredients of brand experiences that we've seen are winning across the globe. So feel free to reach out and connect with me on LinkedIn. It would be my pleasure to connect with you. Keep in touch, they're my contact details. And I think with a bit of luck, we've got some time for some questions. And, you know, if we get some good questions, I'll select the best question and send you a link for a soft copy of my book. So thank you very much. At you.
So thank you so much, Dr. Coleman. No, we don't have much time for the questions, but I'd like to ask one simple question. So how to measure brand experience?
Okay, good question. So building brand experiences can feel a little bit overwhelming. So my advice is to start simple and grow from there. So think about the 3 points that I mentioned today. Think about emotion, your values, and your employees, because great brands are built from within. That's why the employee element is key. So start with those 3 elements. Make sure that you're comfortable and confident that they're relevant to your customers and stakeholders, but also think about measurement. Start with some key measurements. So measure employee metrics, brand metrics, and financial metrics, and just take a handful and then do things. Start to build and launch your brand experiences. re-administer those measures to see what's working, keep building your brand experiences and fine-tune as you get the measurement back. And what you will see is if you're measuring on a quarterly, half-yearly basis, you'll start to see what's driving performance. So I would encourage you to think about emotion, values, and your employees, but also measure simply across employee, brand, and performance metrics. And that's how you'll be able to start to see what's working and what isn't.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We also have some presents for you. Hopefully they will be sent by our organizers and we will figure out who will win your book. Thank you so much again, Dr. Coleman. Na, o dabar aš grįžtu į lietuvių kalbą ir tiesiog paprašysiu jūsų paploti šiam pranešimui.